be here with you all today. I was so honored to be invited to come to this kickoff, and so I immediately jumped at the opportunity when I was invited, and so thank you for having me today. I am so excited to be able to talk about Prysm.io. So, as mentioned, I've been with the company for over 5.5 years now. I started out just looking at new skin from a customer experience point of view. Analyzing surveys, getting feedback about the company in general. And then from there, went into marketing, which was great, learned how to talk about our products, ways that we could help make our products better. And then from there, was able to go into our research and development team. And so that's where I currently work. But I mention all this because it's been really a great experience for me, I think, in my journey with Nu Skin, to be able to start with that customer in mind. How do we actually talk to the customer? What are the products that they're looking for, the benefits that they're looking for? And then from there, how do we actually go and make that product come to life? And Prysm.io has been by far my favorite project that I've had the chance to work on. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what makes it so special and so unique. Let's talk where we started in terms of the biophotonic scanner. For those of you who may not be familiar with it, this is what we're talking about. So I'm not sure if there's one on display here today, but we started out with this scanner called biophotonic scanner, and it was big. Well, actually, the first one took up a whole room. It was at the University of Utah, back in the States, but it was giant, and that's where we first started looking at carotenoids non-invasively in the skin. It was huge. It took several minutes to actually do a scan, but it was really foundational for our team and as part of the development process to be able to start there, and then we started scaling down. So over here was one of our first, I would say, more portable editions of the biophotonic scanner. And then over the years, this is 20 plus years in the making, started to make it smaller and smaller and smaller. The most recent one that we've had in production is the S3, which is that kind of the smaller white one on the left-hand side. That's what we've had running for the last 13-ish years. It takes about 30 seconds to get a scan, but it's been great. And it was a great story and a great proof point as well for our products. Skincare, right? You can go and say, hey, look, my acne's cleared up, or hey, my wrinkles have gone away. But with supplements and with health, it's a lot harder to be able to tell that difference, especially when it's yourself, right? Some other people may say, hey, you look different. But at least for me personally, it's always hard to tell those differences. And so that's really where this scanner became such an important proof point, was to be able to go and show and say, hey, look, actually, you can tell what's going on inside of your body. You can understand if your supplements are working. But from there, the biophotonic scanner, it was really hard to manufacture and make. It uses something called photomultiplier tubes, and the actual technology inside of it, it's big. Like, that's why the housing itself was the size that it is because the technology to run it is pretty expensive, and it was just hard to scale down. So when we were asked, hey, let's make scanner bigger, let's get it out there in the world more, our team really had to go to the drawing board, and we had to work with, we partnered with some scientists and professors at a local university and said, hey, how do we get a technology that can non-invasively measure carotenoids, but in half the size, even a fourth of the size of our current technology? And so from there, that's where we started to ideate, started to prototype, and I had the pleasure of being a part of that. Our first prototype of Prysm.io, it was small, but it was probably like this square shape, and we said, okay, we're getting somewhere. And then we were able to continue to evolve and develop and make it into the handheld size that it is today. I think it's fun. We could have actually made it smaller, but we didn't want people to lose it, right? We wanted it to be at least something that you could keep track of and it doesn't roll away. But we're gonna talk about how we were able to do that with the technology. But our goal was to make it smaller, more affordable, and more easily accessible, because this is such a powerful story and we want everyone to be able to have access to it. And so I won't touch on this too much, but again, we have the building blocks over the last 40 plus years to be able to bring this technology to life. I think it was foundational as well. LumaSpot.io, for those of you who have used it, was our first connected device. And it was actually a really good opportunity for us to stand up our digital platform and make Prysm.io kind of pave a pathway for it. It was our first connected device. We had to set up all of our cloud system, our firmware update system, get apps built. And so from there, we had a lot of foundational learnings that actually helped make Prysm.io development a little bit smoother as part of that process. So all of this leading up really helped become the culmination of what Prysm.io is today. Let's get into what actually Prysm.io is. What is the technology that powers it? When we were developing Prysm.io, there's two parts to a device. There's the hardware, so the physical components, what you physically see, and then there's the software. The software is like the brains of the device, how it thinks, how it functions, right? For the example, your phone is the actual hardware, but the logic to be able to make all your apps run and to send messages, that's all done via software. So same thing. When we were developing Prysm, again, we wanted it to be small, and so that meant that our hardware had to be very, very tiny and very minimal to be able to do that. And so the components we used, I would say they're still very, very high science, but we use LEDs inside of the device, something that is very widely used right now, especially in your watches, in your rings. There's LED technology everywhere. But what I think really sets us apart is our software that is running inside of the device. We use very, very complex algorithms inside of Prysm.io, very long math equations and logic to be able to actually calculate a score. So what you're seeing up here is, we call it spectral ray. That is the technology that powers Prysm.io. And spectral ray comes with three different parts. One is the hardware, like I just mentioned, LED light technology that powers the device. And then we also utilize, so with that biophotonic scanner, over the last 20 years, we've been scanning, and we have over 21 million scans that have been done globally across the world. And that was really foundational for us as we were developing Prysm.io. We utilized what we knew about carotenoids, how people scan on the biophotonic scanner, to be able to help make Prysm.io measure carotenoids as well. So we looked at that database with those millions and millions of scans, and then we actually used AI, right? And I know people throw that around a lot, but AI was very pivotal into bringing this product to life. What we did was we said, okay, here's what we get in terms of the LED measurements in Prysm.io, and here's what we know about how people should be scanning and the carotenoids in the skin. And then that's where our unique and proprietary algorithm came from, was we used over 40 machine learning models to come up with something that closely correlated with the biophotonic scanner scores. And all of that is done in the software inside of the device. So every time you scan, we're doing over 700,000 LED measurements, but then we also are running it through that AI algorithm to be able to generate the score. What's super unique about this device, right? You may say, hey, Haley, everyone's got LED technology. Cool, what makes this so special? It's because we have that backing, the understanding of carotenoids and us studying them for over 20 plus years to be able to give you a score that is accurate and correlated to actual blood draw, which we'll talk about in a second. So again, having that technology and that past has really made this Prysm.io innovation proprietary and unique. We have 2 patents that are pending on this technology. One is on the algorithm itself, how it runs, and the other is on the design, the compact format for the device. So a very, very unique device and is clinically sound, which I'm excited to talk about next. Something that Nu Skin takes pride in, which we heard about earlier, is our innovation, right? All of our products are clinically backed and studied. We don't just make something and throw it out there and say, hope it works. We take time to develop these products. We put tons and tons of hours and money into this research and studying this device. And so as part of that, we've actually had the opportunity to partner with several universities. So I don't know if you guys realize this, Prysm.io only launched, 8 weeks ago, end of November, really in December for most of the globe. But we already are in partnership with four universities. And I believe 3 of those 4 have already closed out their studies. Reports are coming soon. But we actually had a meeting last week with our clinical team as we are continuing to get more and more requests outside of Nu Skin. These are other just research labs and facilities that have said, hey, you guys are onto something. You're doing something really great. How can we get access to this and incorporate it as part of our research as well? And so for me, that's really exciting as part of like understanding, hey, look, we've come up with something big people want to look at it. They want to understand what we're doing. And so it's been a really exciting opportunity to be able to partner with these prestigious universities to be able to look at Prysm.io and the effects of carotenoids on the body. We did just have our big study close out. So what we did, for those of you who don't know, carotenoids in the skin, they have a lot of various health benefits, and it's a really important biomarker, something that we actually can use light with to measure. But in order to understand carotenoids in the blood, you normally have to go and get a blood draw, and they do a carotenoid analysis, a blood serum analysis, and that entails you getting your blood drawn, they spin it through a tube, and then they go and analyze it. It's doable, but it takes time and money, and it's not something you'd go and do fairly regularly. At least I don't, because I hate needles, so once a year, I'm good. Maybe not that, if I can avoid it. But what we did to actually make sure that Prysm.io measures carotenoids is we drew blood as part of a clinical study. We had people measure on Prysm.io and get a score, and then we actually had them draw blood as well, and we sent it to a lab to get spun and measured. And what we found was that the device strongly correlates, your score strongly correlates to actual blood in your body. If you have a scale from 0 to 1 in terms of correlation, we were at a 0.77, which is actually really incredible, especially due to the fact that it's a lot smaller, portable, right, and anyone, anywhere can scan on it. And so this was really exciting for our team to be able to get those results back. So again, carotenoids are a very, very powerful measurement of what's going on in your body. There's a lot of different impacts that lifestyle and diet can have on carotenoids, which is why it's a good indicator of overall nutritional wellness as part of that. So again, here it is, that strong correlation between blood, a huge proof point. We are always science-backed, always making the best products available. From here though, this technology, again, measuring this biomarker in the skin, there's a lot of different lifestyle impacts that it can have on your body. So when you're saying, okay, why do I care about carotenoids? Why should I even care about my Prysm score? As part of one of the studies that we partnered with, I believe this was done out in China, we were able to see the different factors that lifestyle can have on your score. So things like your diet, so foods like whole grains, nuts, fish, vegetables, all of those were shown to have a very positive correlation with the Prysm.io score. And then on the opposite side, things such as like, sugar, alcoholic beverages, things like that can all have a negative impact on your Prysm.io score. So again, why you care about your score, there's a lot of different factors and lifestyle indicators that your score represents. And that's why we want to make it more available and aware to everyone, right? We don't want people going in and have to pay for a blood draw every few months. Why not just get Prysm.io and be able to do that non-invasively so you can understand your wellness and your overall lifestyle. We've also seen factors such as UV exposure and poor sleep that actually impact your score as well. So there's a few different elements to your score. We break it up into 4 different quadrants, and in the app, hopefully you've been able to download it or see it outside when you go and get a scan, that we see things such as supplements, diet, lifestyle, and other environmental factors that impact your score. So you may say, well, I eat super healthy, but my score is red, right? Again, stress, things like UV exposure, sleep, that can all have an impact. Or hey, I exercise really regularly, but I still am seeing a lower score. We need to take into picture that whole holistic view of health, right? It's not just a one-step solution. The nice thing though is supplements are a great way to be able to help improve your score. There's a lot of things in life that we can't control, right? Sleep, especially stress, super hard in today's day and age. But when you have something that you can rely on, like supplements that are proven to help increase that score and be kind of your steady factor despite what life throws at you, that is one way that you can help take care of your body and prioritize your nutritional wellness. So again, clinically validated, it's portable, it's really easy to carry around. And I love the story given earlier about people just want to know. It's a natural question to ask, like, hey, what is that? When we were designing this device, we wanted it to pop on social media, right? We wanted people to be intrigued about what it was and what it did. So we wanted to make sure, right, with the lights, the rainbow, it all is kind of, it's very intriguing. People go, wait, what is that? What are you scanning on? So having it be easy to use, people naturally ask the question. And then of course, who doesn't want to know more about their overall wellness, right? And especially when it's a 15-second scan. That was something our team wanted to prioritize as part of this innovation. Was the biophotonic scanner we have right now is a 30-second scan, which again, very fast, it's great. But 30 seconds can feel a little intimidating, and so we were like, hey, let's get that time down even faster to 15 seconds. And so again, non-committal, very easy to use, and we wanted it to be simple to use as well. You just need to scan your finger, and we'll talk about some scanning best practices, but being able to use it seamlessly and intuitively, that was something we also wanted to make sure was part of that user experience. And so making sure that you use the device correctly is important. This is a high science device. I know it looks small and I know it looks fun, like you can kind of throw it around, right? It is very durable, but we are using very sophisticated hardware inside of that device. We have very sensitive LEDs, photodiodes inside of there that are taking such small measurements, right? We're talking about your skin. We're looking at carotenoids, which you cannot see with the naked eye. And there are so many in your skin, and so we have to remember that this is a high precision device, and we need to follow best practices when scanning in order to get the best results, right? When you go to the doctor and you get your blood pressure taken, they say, hey, let's uncross your legs, take your coat off, right? You don't just go and they don't just strap it on and say, hey, here's your measurement, right? There are a few best practices you need to follow to make sure that you are getting the right reading every time. The same thing applies to Prysm IO. And so making sure that you have the device on a flat table, making sure that your finger, you don't need to press hard on it, it's just gentle pressure, and then making sure that lens is clean on there. Again, we are looking at 700,000 measurements in that 15-second scan. And so as part of that, you need to make sure that you have that lens clean and free of any kind of dirt and grime, especially in between people scanning, right? I think, we always think we have clean hands, but you'll be surprised what we carry on our hands and what we leave on there. The other thing too that I think is important to understand as well is, like most measurements, you always need to have a base. You need to start somewhere. And so, again, going back to blood pressure, you don't get blood pressure taken on your leg or your belly, right? I mean, it's typically your right arm. And so as part of that, pick a finger, but make sure you scan that same finger every time, so that way you do have consistent results. Your score may vary finger to finger, but that's just because biologically we're different. You have a different fingerprint on every finger, right? And so to keep your score consistent and to have that base tracking, make sure you're always using the same finger. But while I say this, it is very easy to use, but we just do need to remember that this is a high precision device. We are looking at such small analytes in the skin, and so the device should be treated as such. The other great thing about Prysm IO is that it is connected to an app. And this is also one of the reasons I love my job too, is not only bringing the hardware to life, but bringing the digital experience to life. As part of the Prysm IO device, we are an IO device, which is Nu Skin's kind of term for connected, which means we can send updates to the device through the app. We actually have an update coming next week that has a little bit of refinement to the technology and some things in there. But what is exciting about this, though, is that we have the opportunity to, even though you've already purchased Prysm IO, to be able to give you updates as we come out with them, right? Maybe maybe there's something that needs fixing in there, or we find a better way to measure, right? That can all be put onto the device after you've received it. And then as part of the app too, you're able to get features updated regularly. I wish you could see our app roadmap. We have a lot of fun features coming in the app experience, ways to make it better, more intuitive, and then also wanting to bring more information to you about what the device does. Some features that we have in there currently are device management, right? So you can get in there and calibrate your device, you can name it, make sure it stays up to date with the latest technology. We also have product recommendations, and so hopefully you can go and demo it out there after this, but you can scan, you can fill out a profile in there that will help give you a better AI recommendation. And so the great products that were talked about previously, all clinically studied and proven to be able to increase your score. Based on your lifestyle factors and your Prysm.io score, you can receive a recommendation of what we think would be best from our product portfolio. And then as part of that as well, that profile, being able to give those lifestyle indicators, how many hours of sleep are you getting, do you smoke, how much do you weigh, how much often do you exercise? Again, all those things lead into Prysm.io, which is why it's this nutritional wellness device. Because all of those lifestyle factors impact carotenoids in your body, and that's how we're able to measure and gauge your overall wellness. So being able to fill out that profile, and then you can also look and track your score. The great thing about Prysm.io is it's not a one-time scan. You get a snapshot of where you sit today, but it doesn't mean that that's where you'll look or what your score will be next week or maybe even next month. And that's why this is a journey, it's a process. And so being able to track your scores over time is going to be important. You also won't be able to take LifePack one time and see your score go up. I wish that was the case, but it takes a little bit more work and dedication, because again, this is a journey, this is a health process, a health and wellness journey to be able to increase your score. So being able to track your progress over time is important. One thing you'll see too, which is amazing and what we're learning more about Prysm.io, is you'll see that your score may fluctuate too, due to some of those other factors we've talked about, right? Travel, we see has an impact on your score, right? I just flew from the States, my score is not good. There's a lot of things I need to work on, but being able to see that over time, I think is a really powerful story as well. And again, goes to the point that you need more insights than just a one-time blood draw or a one-time scan. It's progress, and it takes time to be able to improve your score from there. And then we also have a section in the app where you can learn more about these factors that we've talked about and how they impact your score. That's something we really want to prioritize as part of this, is that education, right? Why does my score matter? Why do I care? But then, of course, the next question that everyone always asks is, well, how do I improve my score, right? And I think that's something that really sets Nu Skin and Prysm.io apart, is we don't just leave it and say, oh, you scored in the orange, I'm so sorry, good luck out there, right? We say, actually, you know what? Don't fret, we have products that can help from there. And I think that's, again, part of what makes this company so great, is not only do we provide this kind of analysis, but we provide solutions to be able to help you get to your goal, right? And we don't just have one product and say, well, hope you like this one because this is your only option. No, we have a variety of products. We have those that are certified, which we talked about, but then we also have products that may not be Prysm certified, but they also have an impact on your overall health and wellness, and we believe will still impact your score. And so again, education is key. Understanding the why is it important, and why should I care about my score, is something that we want to help educate on. And again, it's going to be that process and continual journey. But something to keep in mind though too is Prysm.io isn't it, right? Prysm.io is just the beginning. It's the way people ask their questions, right? They understand more about where they hope to be. But the goal isn't to have people own Prysm.io, right? Prysm.io is just to get the right questions being asked. What we actually want to do is to be able to start with the end in mind. And what that means is we know we want healthy households, right? We talked about our goal and where we hope to be, but the question is, how do we get there, right? So that's our end goal, but from there, we need to think about what really matters at the end of the day, right? And that is, we want people to be happy and healthy, but the question is, how do we actually do that? And we do that through our wellness solutions, which we've talked about, and the great product portfolio that we have, the ability to be able to give recommendations and to adjust product recommendations based on what you're looking for, right? Whether it's wellness, whether it's fitness, whether it's, immune support, eye support, right? We have all of that in our product portfolio. But then what Prysm.io does is it helps ask the question and say, well, what is my health look like right now? How can I improve it? And how can I get where I want to go? And so again, I think just the overall story of Prysm.io is great. We have this amazing technology backed by science, easy to use, and a simple score, right? But being able to then provide those solutions to be able to help people get where they want to go, I think is a really incredible opportunity. And so it's been such a fun project for me to work on. And again, I hope you guys understand how exciting this is with what we've built. And I hope you know too that this is just the beginning as well, right? We've launched the product, but we don't just launch it and say, hey, we wipe our hands of this, we're done. No, our team is actively looking at that roadmap and seeing what we can do in terms of those experiences, the software, again, the digital features. We have a lot still to come, and so make sure you keep your app updates on and you stay up to date with the latest communication on Prysm.io, because this is really just the beginning. And so I hope this has been helpful. Hopefully you're excited about Prysm.io and what it's going to be able to do, and hopefully you've all had a chance to go and scan as well and get your score. And with that, we added in, I'll add this one last piece in. Dr. Joe Chang, who is he's on our scientific advisory board, he actually just published his second book, which is called The Aging Myth. And it talks all about anti-aging and the secrets behind it, but really tying in why it's important to know your Prysm.io score. And so I would advise you to go and check it out. Great read, but that's also a great kind of proof point for Nu Skin as well, is to have this PhD, this amazing scientist, that he's now actually published a book telling the narrative about why this product is so great and why we should care. And so from there, the other last thing too is with products, again, we've talked about how it's not just a one-time, you don't take the product once. It's a journey. You need to be taking it over weeks, months. We've seen from our clinical studies that it takes about 4 to 6 weeks after taking supplements to be able to start to see that impact on your score, right? On top of other lifestyle factors. And so that's why this is a great opportunity, because we can get people on product subscription, right? Taking your supplements monthly on a regular basis is really how you're going to improve that score. And so as part of that, subscription is key. Again, Prysm.io is not the goal, but it is those healthy ongoing lifestyles and changes that we're looking to help people make. And so from there, I hope this has been helpful, but it's been such a fun project for me to work on, and I hope you are all excited for Prysm.io.